the Christmas dinner? Yeah, it was all right because I know that that's the first comment I'm going to get. How was the Christmas dinner? Yeah, it was fine. Happy that I went. I had 6 pints and I'm hungover. Embarrassing.
Six. It's 6:30, mate.
It's embarrassing. I know it's 6:30, and I'm still not feeling 100%. And I had Christmas pudding, and it was horrible. Horrible.
We don't
Like-
do we don't do team Christmas dinner.
Why not?
They just don't.
Oh, okay.
It was the Sharks, apparently.
Well, didn't Hull do their Christmas dinner like in the back of a Weatherspoons or something?
Yeah, and they didn't have any dinner. They just did karaoke.
Why don't I? Well,
Blame the gas leaks.
so ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna send you off into the holiday break. We're gonna do a quick little rundown of the year so far. Are there any teams that have surprised us? Is there any teams that they're doing exactly what they thought they would do? We're gonna have a brief chat, and by brief I mean it's going to spiral out of control because we're all kicking off about the Bullets. Shock, horror, 98-0 against Birmingham, so it kicks off with the Bullets like it classically does. So we're going to talk about that, but we're going to run down the scores for this week. I'm going to start with the predictions. SJ has once again triumphed this week, picking 18 out of 19 correctly. But
That's ridiculous.
but the game that he got wrong was Brunel. So what can you do? That's your own fault. Jamie got 15 of 19. I got 17 of 19, and Dylan got 16 of 18. So looking better for Dylan at least. He's the only one that picked hearts. So Snake.
They'd love him. After the game, they said to me, which one's the guy that picked us? I went, it's Dylan.
Honestly, mate, he's somewhere. I don't know where Dylan is. I know that. Is he in Wales or is he in Scotland? He's somewhere.
Still doing exams, I heard.
With a whiskey.
That's all they do. With a whiskey in his hand. Dylan will come back on the show. He's just, Harriet Watt shuts down when there's exams.
He's not coming on until they win a game, so he's not coming on.
Harriet Watt will win a game.
I don't think they will.
Okay, we'll get into it because, obviously, Harriet Watt is one that we will talk about in regards to, teams that aren't.
Who wins between Harriet Watt and UWS? Sorry, Harriet Watt. That's me. I'm sorry.
UWS might re-enter the league because they know they've got a chance of winning the game.
That'd be so funny. Bring back UWS. That's what I want for Christmas. and again, people, you're going to think that I've got a sore throat because I went out last night. Probably. I don't know. Just bear with it. So, starting off in the Premiership, obviously we know about this. 2 points off the elusive 100. UE beats Birmingham 98-0. Nottingham beats the Raiders 50-0. SGS beat Cardiff 40-0. Leeds. Carnegie beat Loughborough 26-0. Edinburgh Napier Knights get a walkover against Harriet Watt. Harriet Watt now fall to 0-4. Not ideal. Manchester are top of the table in the Northern One, beating Liverpool 30-6 in their return fixture. LJMU pull off the win against the Hull Sharks, ruining my day. Coventry Uni Jets at 0-5. Yep, they fall to Sheffield Hallam 34-0. Exeter Demons are kings of the Southwest as it currently stands, beating Bournemouth 27-8. Bristol Barracuda and the Bath Killer Bees 7-0. Sorry, 7-0. No one really saw that coming. Arguably more of a loss for Bath than it is for Bristol. Brunel lose to Hertfordshire 35-8. KCL, this is a good score from KCL. KCL 7, UEA 8. Loss for KCL, but an interesting game. Interesting old game.
Very close.
And then in Division 2, the Gloucestershire Gladiators improved to 2-1, beating the UE Bullets 2s 8-0. Brighton are still kings of the Southern 2, beating Solent 32-6. UCL beat City 34-8. UClan beat Edgehill 43-0. Bradford fall to the Mustangs 38-0. Sheffield beat the Sunderland Spartans 31-5. And Nottingham Green shut out the DMU Lions 44-0.
Bradford rage quit, didn't they?
What's that?
Apparently. Bradford rage quit, apparently.
Yeah. What was it? Bradford didn't they just stop playing the fourth line? We don't want this walkover.
You say 2 points off the illustrious 100. I see it as 52 points off the illustrious at 150. It's back on.
It's back on. But who are they going to get it against? Because, like, realistically, surely it's they've got to do it against Portsmouth now.
Playoffs.
Playoffs. Who are they going to do against in the playoffs?
Durham.
No, Durham. I don't think Durham won't let them get 150. Surely.
No, I might. Yeah, it might have been a bit of an audacious claim at the start of the year.
Realistically, like, what do you think the score for like the national final is going to be? Like BUCS Big Wednesday. Like, it's going to be ridiculous, surely.
No, but we say this every year. Every year, UE come out and everyone's goes, it's going to be one side, and then somehow Notts just pull it out of the bag and make it a really close game.
But what if it's not Notts this year?
Well, there is that.
It will be Notts this year.
What if it's
By the way.
Loughborough? Who knows?
What if it's Loughborough? Could Loughborough even
What? Okay, what about if instead of the Bullets, it's the fucking Cobras? Why don't we? What are we talking about?
One seed. They've gone to the number 1 seed in the north and come back with a win.
Mate, Cardiff are cashing in their money in the bank, mate. Don't you know? So yeah, so starting off, Bullets doing Bullets things. 98-0.
Close.
Yeah, close game. Fun day out with the lads. Confirmed.
I don't think that one is fun. I don't think that one you can even call fun.
that was not even funny, is it? To most people, that's not even funny.
That one's gone too far, according to the comments.
BUCS sanctioned bullying.
It's it's like do you know when you're having a bit of fun, you just take it a bit too far. That's how everyone's reacted on this one. Well, you had to go too far, didn't you? Ruin it for everyone. But
you know, like
cry about it, but it is what it is. Like, you can say you're going to change the rules and stuff, but then I don't think people realize the amount of hoops that have to be jumped through to actually get rule changes like that put in.
Yeah, like it's not going to happen. Like, if we get into the discussion now, people are talking about the classic of, you know, UE are unfair, UE are doing too much, Americans, and the scores are unfair. But then the point has to be made. If you look at the all of the Premiership games this week were shutouts. It's just obviously UEs are just at a much higher margin. You know,
yeah, it's like 98 points or someone is. It's yeah. I get the arguments. I do see it. Yeah. The one comment that I saw, which was like quite an eye opener, was that they talk about how the uni takes the sport seriously, and it's like, but then in the next breath, their twos struggle in the Div 2, and it's like, how seriously do they take the sport as a whole, or how seriously do they take buying a trophy? That's the difference. Yeah,
I understand, but it's difficult to say because there are players. I know, don't get me wrong, I can't imagine there's a lot, but there are players who do go from the twos to the ones. You know, that shows at least some sign of progression.
Some go the other way.
But we're not seeing Jadrian Clark. We're not going to see Jadrian Clark go and throw up spirals in Div 2, are we? Like,
we are, mate. He's been demoted for not getting to 100.
Mate, honestly, wouldn't that be just peak? Give me like Worcester versus Bullets 2s, Jadrian Clark in, the whole one squad. Like, just have them. It'd be so good. It'd be so funny. But
I think that's
we're
when
not
we
going to
would
get
get the 150.
How many would you have to score in the first half to be 150? Like, you'd have
to get to 90, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think about 90 with the running clock in the second half, probably.
But yeah, like, it's again, my thing is, like, you know, the UE bought in the most and out of everyone, including like the people who did bring Americans over before, like Durham and things of that nature. But it's personally, like, it's just difficult. I personally think, like, it's going to take seeing how the National League progresses before we can really turn on. Because let's say Bullets walk the National League, which is probably what's going to happen. Oh, sorry, the Super League. Let's say they walk that, then there is going to have to be a conversation about it, because You basically created this whole other division and it solved precisely zero problems.
But I think I can't see them putting those score lines on those teams in that National League. Like I think the games against Nottingham and the games against Cardiff, the games against Carnegie will always be competitive.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the point of it. Is it's A, it's competitive. B, how many people are going to want to watch that game? Everyone. There's a reason why the finals have got 10,000 views. So I think that's the main thing as well. It's entertainment purposes as well. It's better competition for everyone else. It's better. Do you know what I mean? Like you now go back to that old day, I guess, of pre US scholars all the time, I guess. Now it's.
I think what a lot of people want to see is I think a lot of people want transparency of how they're actually working the way that they are,
but they've offered to do it. That's the problem. They've offered to do it, and people were like, "No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear how you actually."
Well, here's the thing, like we've had Frankie on, we've had Frankie Pankhurst on like at least once over the last 2 years, where he has just laid all of his cards out on the table and said, "Yeah, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is why the university accepts it. Like if your university did this, yeah, like here's how you do it. If your university buys into it, this is how we got UE to buy into it."
But I'm just looking at the comments from this weekend and digging into them a little bit, and there was the argument about how they were just refusing to say how many Americans they had, and it was like, why not just say it? Like the only argument was, well, we've got British people on the line. It's like, yes, fair dues, commendable, but why be secretive about it? Why not just be like, yeah, we have 18 Americans, and what?
Honestly, mate, if I'm Yui, I'm probably just sick and tired of it. Like, just we've got Americans and they're good and they want to come and play for us. We give them a deal. They help us. They get money off their tuition. They can they can look at Europe now and potentially go there like that. Like that's what it is. Like. Don't get me wrong. Like the Jadarian Clark thing's a little bit different because he's like established in Europe being the ELF MVP. But like that's what I look at. I've got a much more sort of simple view of the Bullets and their dominance with their Americans. There you go. But a point these races obviously like there's all the Prem games were shutouts this week. But like, you don't see Nottingham Gold getting shit for shutting people out. You don't see Beckett getting shit for shutting people out. Obviously, the score lines aren't as high, but they're still doing it. It's still something that is.
The North is stronger. Simple as that. Like that's the main thing. The North is so much stronger. Like Loughborough only lost 26-0. They're the promoted team, but albeit they have an incredibly good setup and they've got some brilliant players. But you'd expect Carnegie in previous years to beat the team that finished. That is probably either fourth or third, like 40-50.
It really is good. It really is going to be an interesting game when Nottingham go up to Leeds because as I've said, like the home over the last 2 seasons, the home side is the one that wins. But like, is that going to be the case this year? Or is Nottingham just going to take the 1 seed and run with it? But again, it's classic. Pride doing Pride things. Gold doing Gold things, Carnegie doing Carnegie things, Bullets doing Bullets things. Again, we're just waiting for the playoffs in terms of the Prem. In Div 1, sort of, yeah. I mean, like like if we look at the divisions that are fully not broken, but like it's hard to call. Scottish 1 is definitely broken, just given the amount of walkovers and the fact that Stirling won't play Glasgow again. Like. It seems to be it's going Stirling's way already, but they've only played 2 games. But Glasgow are 3-1, and not a clue in the Scottish 1. I had a hard time ranking this week who's going to take from the Scottish 1 because Glasgow are strong, but Stirling are stronger. I guess, but they've not played enough. Is anyone surprised about how Scottish Ones turned out? Like, really?
No.
No.
I actually had a look at it. If I have a look at it now, no.
It's how it currently sits is Glasgow. Glasgow have got 3 wins, so they're in the number 1 spot.
Mm.
And then I think it's Stirling with 2 wins, no losses.
Harry can't finish any higher at this point.
I thought Mavericks would have been a bit more impressive, but they've seemed to have dropped off this year. But
personally, for me, I know the man's not here, but I think it's just a shame what's that Harriet Watts had to concede 2 walkovers, because I think that, especially with their score against Glasgow, I think Harriet Watt still has something, but we're just going to have to wait till the new year. But they're now playing for nothing. So
I'm just looking at the other leagues now. Look at the South. The Southeast is interesting.
The Southeast is interesting.
For the reason of who's not getting all their games played. That's who's going. I think that might decide who goes down. Because if you look at Queen Mary, they've got 2 games played before Christmas. They've got. If I look at the fixtures, they've got 1 game. They don't have a single bye week left, which means they could get 2 games voided.
It's going to be interesting because obviously, Exeter's sort of in the hot seat currently of going down. Did I say Exeter or Essex? I mean Essex. But
yeah.
The top of the table is interesting. Can still do it, but they've just got to take UEA. But UEA, we're putting up impressive performances all season, apart from this week, beating KCL 8-7, where last time they put 40 points on them.
So, do you think KCL just came out a bit better, or do you think it's?
It could be like if you look at KCL having a draw this year, they had a 0-0, and they claimed torrential rain as the problem. Very well could just be it's a weather game that's kept KCL, in it. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. But KCL got momentum. I don't think KCL are going back down. I think that's pretty fair to say.
I think it's between. I mean, if Essex go down, that division title's cursed.
Yeah,
that's 2. There's 2 of the last 2. There's 2 both winners of the last 2 years all got relegated.
It's like the Northern one as well. That's just very competitive. In the sense of, Manchester have it, but they're not playing Leeds again. But they beat Leeds, but they lost Liverpool. But then they beat Liverpool.
I'd argue the only division that I could probably tell you right now who's going to win the division is Exeter.
Are you willing to put that much faith into Hallam?
I'm willing to bet one of their speed flexes you get when you join them.
So you're telling me the only one that you think that is wrapped up is the Southwest. You don't think that NTU they've got it in the bag?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that one as well. Those are the only 2. I think it's more a question of. Well, to be fair, Exeter have only played 3 games, haven't they? And they've got 5 after Christmas. But again, how do they fit them all in?
This is it's difficult now because you could have potentially said that Bath could have come along and caused some problems in the Midlands one, but after a draw to Bristol.
Oh, they've gone on a Wednesday night. That's rough. That's rough. So Exeter potentially got 4 games. I've got 5 games post Christmas every single weekend, followed by the Wednesday at the league deadline, and then I believe it's playoffs as soon as that weekend happens, or it's the following week. I think
it's going to be rough for them, but at least they're going to have a home playoff game this year. They're not going to be travelling. Whereas Bournemouth, they're going to be on the road. It looks like.
And with UEA coming up, if you with UEA dropping down, the amount of travel miles has gone up massively in the playoffs potentially.
I think we looked at it. It wasn't like I think the longest potential playoff match was Coventry to Aberdeen. Like, you take all the teams. The longest potential one is Coventry. I'm not doing well.
What is it in the south? South has got to be UEA to Exeter.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, I was surprised, honestly, mate. Like, the drive to Exeter was boring. Straight line down the M5. It was awful. But yeah, it's like, in terms of, I feel like the northern one hasn't shaped up. I thought Leeds would just have that. But fair enough to Manchester for being able to do that.
I still think there's another twist at the top there, because do Manchester play Leeds again?
Don't think so. Is that it, mate?
No, mate.
My mouth is so dry. You 1 second.
Give me 1 second.
Go get some
Go
water.
get some water. Talk amongst yourselves.
Put his headset right next to the mic. Yeah, because if they don't play each other, then it kind of makes things a little bit more awkward. But because Leeds were missing key players, not just players, so if they play each other again, but I don't think if they don't, then obviously, but you know, things could still change.
I mean, for me, the Midlands one was Midlands one.
For me, the Midlands one was.
What's it done here?
Chugging. Right there.
No, bro.
And you're echoing.
There you go. I know what it is. It's fine now. I've fixed it all. I'm struggling a bit here, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, there could still be another twist, because I don't know how common knowledge it is, but obviously LJMU have their 3 games in 8 days coming up straight after Christmas, which is rough.
Okay, so Midlands one, I think that shaped up how we thought it would, with NTU having it all. What?
You shit like you're dying.
Mate, I am, like, my throat hurts. I'm starting to gag. It's not great.
Yeah, NTU have got that division wrapped up, I'd say.
It'd have to take an almighty. It would have to take an almighty collapse for them to not win that division now.
Yeah.
Because the only other team would be Warwick, and like they've beaten them twice. So
Warwick, well, Sheffield Hallam, potentially. I don't know. No, yeah, NTU have got.
Any word on the TikTok bowl? This is what we're on. We're getting to that now. I'm not surprised. I don't think SJ will be surprised. Tebs might have something to say, but he might die when he tries to talk.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not surprised. It wasn't like I wasn't going to bet my house that Hull were going to win, but I thought Hull had a bit more life in them now because of the deduction. They know what's on the line.
And
that was my
to be fair,
process,
from both sides, this is coming from people from both teams. It was obviously the scoreline was close. It wasn't like it was a convincing victory, and several people from LJMU's O-line were saying that it was the most physical game they've had in years, which going into the season was a bit of a worry for Hull, was that they felt like their defence was a bit undersized and it was going to be all about speed and not power, and they seem to have turned it on, and they've done really well. So
like, Hull are definitely one of the surprise teams of this year that have, like, come out, and they've surprised me, definitely.
I'll say it now. I think Hull beat them in the reverse, especially considering it's the third out of the 3 games. I think that there's it's theirs to lose at that point, even though they've lost the first one. But yeah.
Then
But we've already discussed it.
We've already discussed it.
Yeah, that was the first part of the show. Commentary going down as well. That's one of the ones that isn't a particular surprise to me.
Seeing that Leicester score, yeah, mate, that's not even questionable. I think South West 1. It's the same. I think it's a bit up. Bristol probably.
Yeah, it's looking like it's Bristol.
5 games played. Yeah. The South is a mess. The South
is a mess.
Probably the most chaotic one, because I think I was trying to work out is any team. I think any team could still technically win the division. If I'm right, yeah, any team could technically still win that division. Are you going to make it to the end of the show?
Yeah, I'll make it to the end of the show. I'm professional, mate.
I'm genuinely worried we might have a death, and none of us can end the stream. So if he dies on stream, that stream's going on forever.
Yeah, it's like Oxford are the only undefeated team left in brackets because of the draw. Oh, good Lord. Got to talk about Div 2 yet. Jesus Christ. Not going well for me.
Hertfordshire as well. They've got a good team. I think they've got the potential to potentially clear it out too. There's a lot of teams in the league that I couldn't predict still. Obviously I back my own team to still win the division, but it's tough. It's competitive. I'd argue it's probably the strongest out of the 3 South divisions.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's having watched the streams of the Southwest as well. The Southeast, I'm going off last year's knowledge, and I don't expect it to have got immensely better than it was last year. So yeah, Div 2. We've got Div 2. The one interesting one's always the Midlands, isn't it? South.
Yeah, the thing is with the Midlands is you've got the top 3 teams. I'd argue are Derby, Notts Green, and Lincoln, and because of weather postponements, none of them have played each other yet. So the Midlands 2 is I don't have the foggiest because they've beaten DMU and the Cambridge sides, but because they've not played each other, you can't really get a grasp on it. So I think the Southern one.
I think out of that division, Derby are better than the others.
You
can always pull back on Notts and say Notts will be there, but Notts, it always seems to happen that they look really, really good, and then there's just some games where they just lose it, and I don't know whether it's because players go up and play for gold or whatever, but there always seems to be a couple of games where they just drop off.
We got to think about it. Lincoln beat Derby last year.
Derby look different this year, though.
Yeah, I understand that. I think Derby are definitely the front runners, but until any one of those teams plays another one of those teams, can't really say anything about it because it's not too bad. The southern two is interesting in the sense that it's going to come down to Brighton versus Sussex, and truthfully, I didn't see Sussex doing having an undefeated run going into Christmas, but it's going to be an interesting one. But I still think that it's. What's that?
The points differential Sussex got, 3 games played, 35 points scored, 0 conceded. That's unbelievable. That is the most Div 2 record I've ever seen.
Yeah, so it's still surprising. I didn't, sorry Sussex, I didn't have much faith in Sussex.
Southeast.
I tried to die.
Southeast will come down to Imperial played Kingston, haven't they? And they beat Kingston.
No, they've beaten. Well, UCL have lost to Greenwich, haven't they? As well. So They're behind the eight ball a bit, but Imperial doing this, I'm personally not very surprised by. They're a good side. They've always had momentum to be able to be a Div 1 side, and they proved that not last year, the year before, by winning the Div 1 Southeast.
I think it finishes Imperial 1, Kingston 2, UCL 3.
Sussex to be defeated by I don't know what you're talking about, JM, mate. Not a clue, mate.
What's the other one?
Not a clue. Southwest, Aberystwyth and Swansea are currently at the top of the table, but it's one of those things where Aberystwyth, they've beaten Worcester and Bath, Spa, not the strongest opponents in the world. Is that win against
Northern 2A? That's one. I think the two Northern ones sorted. It's going to be Northumbria. It's going to be UClan.
Yeah. No, I feel like Lancaster could provide a challenge for UClan, and York could provide a challenge for Northumbria. No, I'm just saying could. I'm not saying that they will. I'm just saying that they could.
I honestly believe both of those teams would be up there in the Div 1. I don't think either of them would struggle in Div 1 at this year.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
For either of them. Both of them are recruited unbelievably well.
Yeah.
Especially at Div 2 teams.
So Southwest one. like Swansea have beaten Plymouth and Worcester, and then the battle for Wales was postponed because of various issues. But personally, for me, it's looking a bit Swansea-y. Obviously, Gloucestershire 2-1 after losing to Aberystwyth in week 3, but then beat Worcester, beat Bullets this weekend. Still in it, but still behind the eight ball a bit. I think when it comes down to Swansea versus Aberystwyth, I think it will go Swansea's way, and it's going to be. I think the interesting game for that division is going to be Gloucestershire versus Swansea, because. Yeah, there you go. That's my prediction. It's difficult, but I'm leaning more towards Swansea. And I know I picked Blitz at the start of the year, but right now it's Swansea. But Gloucestershire, if they can keep going, then I'll be, happy because, I live in Gloucester.
Just going back to the Northumbria chat, and not talking about Northumbria, but does Bradford getting tonked like that make my YSJ shout more logical now?
No.
Which one was that?
I stand by it.
Oh, mate, I can't shout. My voice hurts. Leave it out. We'll have to do it after Christmas. I'll have a go at you.
And I'll tell you who's disappointed me this weekend, the Wolfpack. Right. They had an almighty rise at the beginning of the season. They've just gone to shit.
They did. It's bloody Southeast teams. There's no consistency. It's awful.
Oh, here we go. He's off again.
He's not going to get through the show.
There's not much left to talk about, is there?
This last 20 minutes has been a mess.
No, but I'm just saying there's not that much to talk about. It's if we look at the Prem North and the Prem South, that shaped up how we thought. Northern won, bit different than how we thought.
Does the audience have any questions for us? Let's open it up to the audience.
Why? Please don't. I'm not going to answer them. No,
Content.
Do a Q&A in the new year. Not when I can't speak and having a drink delicious red apple water.
I was wondering what it was you were drinking.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Vodka.
What about the newsflash? Newsflash.
No, he's got Colonials first, and then we'll go.
Newsflash last. Look at him. He looks like he's going to.
Me?
He just looks so defeated.
Because I can't talk. I'm on a show where I talk. No, do the news flash. Do the news flash. I'll talk about
Let me
LinkedIn in a bit.
Flash. Okay.
All right.
Jamie,
I'll
who's
let-
doing it?
I'll
Do you
let-
want to do it?
You can do it. Yeah, you can do it because my laptop
Go on, then.
explodes.
Right, what have we got? Oh, 4 rejections. That's
Oof.
we don't like to see that. Because that's bad. We don't like to see people rejected, but same time, very funny. So I think
Fuck it. Sorry for interrupting. Fuck it. Let's talk about the clash this weekend. We won't talk about what caused it, but let's just talk about how funny it was.
Which clash?
We know which clash.
The SGS
Wait. Do you mean the clash that happened 2 weeks ago, or do you mean the one
No.
that was?
The one that happened this weekend.
Well, no, because all that's going to be is, because I don't really want to discuss it too much. It's all just going to be us code word and everything. Was it? You just look at it, you just go, "Oh, good Lord above."
Yeah, can't talk about that one. Let's not talk about that one.
We can talk about SGS versus Portsmouth. We can talk about that one.
Let's not talk about the other one.
Do the SGS Portsmouth one and explain the messages that you also got last week about the cage.
So Portsmouth essentially descended into a Hell in a Cell game towards the end of it. From what I heard, something happened.
Oh, here you go. Mike's here.
Mike's here just in time, and from what I've heard, Portsmouth's team basically got locked into their own pitch for their own safety until SGS left.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to know what was said to cause that much of a head loss from SGS.
Honestly, mate, it's an interesting one.
2 ejections.
Getting locked on your own pitch. Yeah, there's a couple of instances on the BAFA report in regards to SGS and Portsmouth. So
2. What even is MIS? What's the code for that? I like the code that is FUC. Just straight fuck. But to be fair, there's not really much else on there.
no,
Other than
come on, refs, be more funny in your news flashes. Talk about what sweeties you got at the Southampton game.
Is that the Southamptons? They always get sweeties.
Well, they gave us four.
Royals.
They gave us 4 crunchy bars.
Due to miscommunication with rugby teams at the venue, dressing rooms were at a premium and officials ended up changing in shifts in a small room, only big enough for 3 at a time.
How many refs is there at a Div 2 game in Worcester?
Imagine there's only 4 and they just make one of them way outside.
No, they've done that thing. When you're in school, you've got to make it how much space you've got. If you hit them, you go. No. It was the Canterbury Chargers game balls, and the game day manager had to drive back home to pick up the game balls. It's like, that's the game day manager's main job on the day, is provide the balls.
When do you think he realised
8 refs?
there were 8 refs for KCL UEA? Bloody hell! I mean, fair enough.
They've got relegated, and they still get the same amount of refs as they would in Prem. That's a good deal. That.
Think they buy them in blocks for and get a discount.
Here we go. So, last week's play of the week. Let's see if any of you know it. Try down on the B3 yard line. There is 10 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Team A score a 1-point field goal on the try. During the down, Team B line up a defensive lineman within the frame of the body of the snapper. What is the ruling?
Fuck knows, man.
QMBL was called off. No, hold on a second, Jamie. QMBL was called off late, so the refs came over from QMBL. Brilliant.
What? Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense because they're just around the corner from each other.
Yeah. That's quite funny, fair enough.
That game, from what I've heard, the Queen Mary and Kent game was called off because Kent's bus broke down. Which means Which means with those games between those two teams, there's something that's gone horrendously wrong both times. The first time was the floodlights switching off, and now Kent's bus has broke down.
Who pays for them extra refs? Because I'd like to hope that it wouldn't be ETL.
Why? Do you know why the bus didn't turn up? Was that at the fault of the SU not booking it? Because if it's the fault of the SU not booking it, then good lord, that could be Kent's season mudded.
Yeah. That's quite funny. The bus didn't turn up. That's a madness.
If that's me, I know exactly what card I'm pulling. I know exactly what card I'm pulling, man.
Awful.
Did someone say what?
It's quite funny. All right, guys. Let's get into sort of the final part of the show.
Go on,
So we've obviously, as you can see on the ticker at the bottom of the screen, we're not gonna just.
Cheers, Gary.
I know. Thank you, Gary. We're not finished with streaming games. The first half of the season's over, but we still got one more. I'll be going to Leicester for DMU versus Lincoln. It's quite a hot rivalry if you're on DMU and Lincoln, but Lincoln at 1-0, DMU at 0-3, but DMU did manage to beat Leicester last year. And Leicester were the one team that got promoted last year. So, could happen for DMU. I'm excited to sort of go back and do a Lincoln game, despite we're in a whole Shark City at this moment in time. But, put it like this, there's no other games on, and it's being streamed, so, get a cup of tea, get a cup of whiskey if you're Dylan. Watch it. Just basically, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna try and have a good time, and just a fun little Christmas game for you.
Wear your Sharks hoodie.
Shall I?
Yeah.
Shall I? It's not like any of the new Lincoln Colonials know who I am anyway, so it's not too much of a worry. I always think I'm just I remember I got asked at UE versus Birmingham. I was wearing this, and someone came up to me and went, "Did you play for Hull?" I was like, "No." And then he was like, "Ha ha ha! Did you really not play for Hull?" I'm like, "No, genuinely no. Genuinely, I've never played for Hull." And he couldn't quite believe that I have a hoodie for a team that I haven't played for. He obviously doesn't know about the Bath Killer Bees and the Swansea Titans t-shirts I've got. So with that, predictions for this week. We got a chance to go 100% DMU or Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Game called off.
Fine, yeah, I'll take that. That's it.
That's not that bit. That's actually.
It's got to go on the graphic.
Game called off.
I'll take it.
10 points if you get it.
I didn't say that. So
I refuse to say Lincoln.
God, don't be so bitter, man. What the fuck?
They're just boring. We paid for the QMBL game, but the KCL we did. So what?
So we get paid for the QMBL.
Oh, you get paid for the QMBL game, so they didn't have to get paid by KCL.
Right.
Fair enough.
So hang on. So Queen Mary paid for refs,
despite the fact that there wasn't a game.
And despite the fact that Ken's bust.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think QMBL need to invoice the Falcons there, to be honest.
I think QMBL have been shafted a bit there.
I think refs rightfully should get paid for the time, regardless, on the day especially. But I'm not sure. Yeah. Someone at Queen Mary's got to be having a word there. Something's gone wrong there.
Their treasurer's like, hang on a minute.
Don't worry, we'll save the money on the 10 games we don't get played this year.
That's right. Avida, you got anything else to talk about? Because I'm happy to send this one off into Christmas.
No, have a good Christmas, everyone.
Yeah.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen,
Lincoln end up in the mud.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. We will see you in the second half of the season. I believe the first week is the 21st, or the first official week. I believe there are some games being played slightly earlier as well. So we will be back with you on the 22nd of January. Enjoy your holidays, enjoy your turkey, enjoy drinks, enjoy buying a Speed Flex for Christmas. I don't know, buy a Riddle Axiom. I don't know, do what you want.
Yeah, Mike, we understand and we agree with you there, but why are QMBL having to pay? It's not their fault that Kent didn't turn up.
Yeah, there you go. Just enjoy yourselves. And I know normally if you're playing this weekend, DMU versus Lincoln, coming to you live on Sunday. I would say be there or be square. It'll be a good little Christmas watch. I'll wear a Christmas hat throughout. And
are you
try
going to put Christmas branding on the overlays and stuff? Are you going to put like a Santa hat on the scoreboard?
Why the fuck do you do this every week, you little rat? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you fuck off? Have you ever thought about that? No, I'm not.
I'm just trying to make a viewing experience.
No, dickhead. No, you don't fucking understand. Because the scoreboard is a separate software entity to the rest of the banners. The banners and the scoreboard are different. So to get the scoreboard to be all Christmassy will take a lot of fucking work. And I'm not going to do it.
Make it like the Slime Time games where it's like they're all reindeers.
Why don't I also make it like the fucking Toy Story games as well? And what I'll do is I'll get I'll get Woody and Buzz, and I'll just, if the camera will be on me and I'll be watching the game, then I'll make it look like that's what they're fucking doing. Yeah? No. Leave it alone. Just it'll be there. DM, you haven't told me what time kickoff is yet, so
I love how angry this is ending.
I know. He's just in a bad mood. He's got a tickly throat.
I do have a tickly throat, mate. I had one too many sherries yesterday, and now my throat hurts because I can't hack it anymore. Because I'm getting too old for it.
It's over and he can't hack it.
Not my finest hour. I grant. But yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. We'll see you on the 22nd on Sunday. DMU versus Lincoln. Come and have a watch. Come and wish me a Merry Christmas and wish me a happy birthday as well. But we will see you on the 22nd. Goodbye.